A concussion occurs when there is a blow to the head or rapid movement of the head that causes mental status changes. That means confusion, disorientation, or memory loss. You do not need to be knocked out to have suffered a concussion. In fact, research shows that only about 9 or 10% of concussions result in a loss of consciousness. There are signs and symptoms of concussions that parents and athletes should be aware of. Signs are observable by other people, such as coaches, parents, and teammates. That is why it's important for everyone to know what to look for. These signs include imbalance. The athlete may appear wobbly or uncoordinated, appearing dazed or confused when responding to questions or instructions, answering questions slowly, personality changes such as being very irritable, overly emotional, or just acting oddly, cannot recall the events prior to or immediately following the contact, any loss of consciousness. If any of these symptoms are present, remove the athlete from play immediately and do not let him or her return until cleared by a qualified medical professional. This does not mean that every time that these symptoms are present that the athlete has suffered a concussion. The symptoms can occur for other reasons, such as getting a headache because of dehydration. However, the safest route is always pulling an athlete from play whenever a concussion is suspected. Remember, when in doubt, sit them out.
And I think most often, Mike, people think that concussions, they tend to associate it with contact sports, but we're here to tell you that our daughter Sydney, she's a swimmer, she suffered a concussion, and she swam into the bulkhead of the pool, and she was out for a number of weeks.
She was, yeah.
With a concussion, and I think that sometimes parents can get lulled into thinking that your child is going to be void of these kind of situations if they play certain sports, if they run, if they swim. Things that you don't normally associate, in with your mind with contact. Things happen. I mean, if you're out there living life, there's going to be accidents. And the most important thing is how you respond when those kind of things happen.
Yeah, it is.
Pulling her out of the pool.
Well, especially to recognize, because you think, wait a minute, she might have a concussion. Wait, she's a swimmer?
Yeah.
That doesn't compute. But she, as Chris said, miscounted her strokes, was looking at the bottom and doing her thing, streamlining. Next thing you know, she's hit the wall. So, yeah, I mean, it is recognition at first to say it can happen in other sports or other walks of life. So we are learning more to recognize it. And then once you recognize it, what do we do about it then? And like anything else, you get smarter with information. But just because I played high school ball, 4 years of college at Notre Dame and 9 years in the NFL doesn't mean I was smart about it, because I wasn't with one of my kids. My son Jake, when he was in high school, great athlete, ended up playing at Notre Dame, caught a pass over the middle, and he got stung. He got a good pop and hit the ground, and he was out for about a second or two. And
he got up and he was wobbly.
He got up and wobbly, and where the high school is, they have an EMT over there, and they took him over there, so I walked over there. And, Jake explained he got hit, he blacked out for a second, and then was back up, and he was fine and moving and everything, and the EMT was like, well, okay, we want to sign this, we want to get him to the hospital and check him out. And Jake's like, no, I don't want to go to the hospital. And I said, okay, we're not going to go to the hospital. We'll just stay here. And the guy said, okay, you got to give a release for that and all that. And I said, okay. So it didn't end there. I actually let him go back in the game. He said he felt fine. We were walking back to the field. It was one of these close game situations. And he said he felt good. And the coach even asked me, the athletic director even asked me, said, are you sure you want him to go back in? And Jake was moving around and looking fine and everything. I said, yeah. I said, let him go back in the game. He went back in the game. He caught a couple of more catches. And as time went on, I realized it was probably one of the stupidest, dumbest, moronic things I've ever done. I mean, my son was actually blacked out for a couple of seconds, and I didn't have him seek medical attention, and I let him go back on the football field. Because you have to stop the player. The player wants to go on the field.
Or you have to stop the dad.
Or you have to, so you have, yeah, it's exactly right. So you have to eventually take the helmet away from the player because players want to play.